Madam Speaker, our nation's students are the future. They're our future police officers, doctors, technicians, and manufacturers. And to accomplish this, students will need localized education that is sensitive to the thoughts and concerns of students, parents, and teachers. That's the system we've had in the United States of America for many years. But lo and behold, inside this multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure budget reconciliation package that's being crafted right now as we stand here this evening, there are plans, and I don't want to blow this out of proportion, to nationalize and radicalize our nation's education system. The Washington takeover of education would give the Biden administration unprecedented levels of federal oversight and the ability to approve early education standards and provide child care to wealthy families while pushing small providers out of the market. This proposal comes at a time when across the country, parents are already feeling a little bit cast aside or excluded from some of the major decisions that are being made in their children's education. Students are being taught divisive and harmful curriculum. The one that's obviously at the forefront is CRT. When parents come to their local school board meetings to express their concerns, they've been met with hostility. And in some cases, extreme cases, they arrested a parent. It's crazy. This is especially important for parents in Wisconsin, my home state. Parents are fed up with the bureaucracy telling them they, not the parents, know better. And when parents ask what their children are being taught, they often get a very limited and unsatisfactory response. So I came up, along with some of my colleagues, with a bill that we thought made sense. Very easy, common, sunshine type of bill that ultimately would resolve many of these issues. We call it the Transparency Act, the CRT Transparency Act. The bill requires schools to post their curriculums online so that parents can see what their students are being taught. Seems simple to me. Just post it online. You've got nothing to hide. Gives the parents the opportunity to see exactly what their children are being taught. The merits of this bill, I think, would ultimately warrant no controversy. The bill doesn't ask school boards to make private information public. Elementary and secondary curriculums are already public information, so the parents who wish to call their school districts and inquire can do that. The problem is the onus shouldn't be on the parents to jump through hoops to get this information. And no matter what the class may be, the bottom line is that the parents have the right to easily access this information. So if schools aren't teaching divisive and backwards curriculum, then there should be absolutely no reason not to make this information public. I've spoken to local education leaders back in southeastern Wisconsin, the 5th Congressional, who agree with the common sense sentiment behind the proposals. But unfortunately, I think that President Biden, Secretary of Education, the Democrats, they don't agree necessarily with the parents having that much input, and certainly believe that they could bring influence to that entire educational system, which is not something they want. And that's why the Attorney General issued a memo instructing the Justice Department to investigate parents speaking up at the local school boards. Listen, this is wrong, and despite what my colleagues on the other side of the aisle may believe, parents do have the right to speak up at school board meetings and complain and be vocal about what their children are being taught. In fact, this is the hallmark of being a good parent, right? I mean, you don't want to just send your kid off to class and not be involved in what they're involved in every day. I think what we saw in Virginia last night sent an undeniably clear message. Those who embrace radical education policies and box out our parents do not represent what the American people want. My colleagues across the aisle want you to believe that they prioritize students and education. But the text of this budget reconciliation will tell a very different narrative. A narrative that expands the federal government's role in education at the expense of good parenting and student outcomes. And I think my colleagues, my Republican colleagues, will oppose any proposal that puts the bureaucracy before students. And I thank you, and I yield back.